With the launch of Season 1, a new threat has been looming on the horizon for Marvel Rivals. I guess not really looming on the horizon, but more so looming in the sky and all over New York. If you couldn't tell, New York and Marvel Rivals has been taken over by vampires, hence the vampiric theme for this Marvel Rivals Season 1. But you're probably wondering what this whole vampiric takeover thing is all about, what this new map in New York is about. So I'm going to fill you in on all the Season 1 lore of Marvel Rivals. And just a quick reminder before we get into it, it is free to subscribe to me if you like this video. It does help out a lot, and I appreciate you guys watching. First thing first, we gotta look at what the best journalists in New York are saying, what the Daily Bugle is reporting on. Starting off, we have the blood moon over the Big Apple. Manhattan is the only major city trapped in a state of eternal night, but the whole world is feeling the impact. According to Reed Richards, the blood moon's stationary position in our planet's orbit has led to dramatic shifts in the Earth's tide, climate, and even its magnetic field, meaning some communications could be on the brink of collapse. What about Doctor Strange? Well, the Daily Bugle reports that Doctor Strange has been missing for quite a while. Renowned surgeon and rumored sorcerer Stephen Strange mysteriously disappeared just before the city was plunged into darkness. Coincidence? But some New Yorkers on the street are finding some offensive items on sale in the gift shop of his Sanctum Sanctorum on Bleecker Street, a vampire-themed board game that some fear may be linked to the city's recent influx of bloodthirsty monsters roaming the streets. This board game is no other than the Tomb of Dracula, War on Central Park. We can see Blade, Squirrel Girl, and Doctor Strange all on the cover. What about Moon Knight? Well, in the article Bad Moon, Night Rising, the Daily Bugle reports that when danger stalks tonight, we have to take heroes where we can find them. In the back alley of Greenwich Village, the Midnight Mission has long been rumored to be the base of operations for a vigilante known as Moon Knight. That leads the Daily Bugle to speculate that some of the colorful lights emanating from the Midnight Mission might be a part of some ancient ritual. The Daily Bugle continues to investigate. But it's not a Daily Bugle newspaper until we read the article about Spider-Man. Spider-Man, villain or vampire? Everybody knows Midtown's been massacred by monsters, so where is this so-called spectacular Spider-Man? The Daily Bugle has its suspicions. Unless New York's most dangerous vigilante is off cowering in a corner somewhere, it's more than likely he's already joined forces with the vampires. Can you imagine a sinister Spider-Vamp loyal reader? As if that web-slinging wacko wasn't already bad enough. But who's behind this vampiric attack on Manhattan? Well, the Daily Bugle thinks it might have figured it out. While the exact source of the vampire infestation in New York City remains uncertain, some sources indicate that Dracula himself may be to blame. This rumor has gained traction due to a recent addition to the city's skyline, a Gothic castle that appeared in Central Park. This architectural eyesore is believed to be the home base for the growing vampire army. Now that we've covered the Daily Bugle's investigations, we can get to the bottom of what's actually happening and if Spider-Man is actually really a vampire leader or not. Spoiler alert, he's not. But before we get into it, if you like this video, you should definitely subscribe for more. I try and make weekly videos, whether it be Titanfall, Marvel Rivals, or everything in between. I also try and stream those games almost every weekday. My Twitch is going to be down below, or it's going to be linked up here. And if you want to keep updated on all my videos, you want to hang out and talk to me, or you want to get automatic notifications from my stream, you should definitely join my Discord, which is also going to be linked in the same place. We have a lot of fun on Discord, great times. We like to have conversations. We hang out. It's really fun. Now on to the real origins of this vampiric infestation. Doom travels to Transylvania to have a conversation with Dracula, and Dracula questions why he's come here. It's a long way from Latveria. It turns out Doom has brought Dracula a gift. Dracula, to say the least, is skeptical at first. A gift from Doom? Do you think Dracula's a fool? Doom is just another pathetic supervillain whose loyalty can be purchased with mere baubles. He's Dracula, and he's reigned over the night for centuries. What does Doom have on him? But Doom offers something Dracula can't refuse. A crystal that could help Dracula rule the night forever. Now Dracula's interested, and he asks Doom to continue. Doom has brought Chronovium, pretty much crystallized timepieces from when the timelines shattered and the whole time stream entanglement began. But Doom has a hypothesis. If he combines Dracula's blood with the Chronovium, then he can unlock the true power of the Chronovium and potentially trap a city in eternal night. Now Dracula thinks that's all fine and dandy, but again, why would he trust a pathetic supervillain? Doom wants to keep the heroes busy, Dracula gets eternal night. And then Doom and Dracula both have the freedom to pursue greater goals. And Dracula asks, what greater goal is there than eternal night? Doom says, how about an existence where vampires can walk freely in the day? And Doom thinks he can make that happen with the vampiric verses from the Darkhold. But Dracula thinks that Doom is still tricking him. He's not naive, he's an old dude. He can see through his tricks. And Doom just says, Doom never reveals all, but I promise you on the soul of my mother, this is not an act of deception. What I have offered you will come to pass, should you choose it to. Dracula says, all it takes is one drop of blood. Dracula thinks he can spare that much. After all, the streets of New York will be running red with it soon enough. But where did Doctor Strange go? As the Daily Bugle reported, Doctor Strange has disappeared. Well, as it turns out, he locked himself away in the astral plane when Doom started the time stream entanglement. While he was there, he searched for the Darkhold that he had previously hidden. Doctor Doom was searching it, and he knew that if Doctor Doom found it, bad things can happen. Doctor Strange did find the Darkhold, but somehow Khonshu had gotten a hold of it, and Khonshu took Doctor Strange captive. Khonshu's plan to defeat Dracula was to kill every single vampire with the vampiric verses from the Darkhold. However, there are a lot of innocent people that have also suddenly turned to vampires, pretty much as an extreme measure to immediately stop all vampires, and there's gonna be a lot of casualties, and not everybody's agreeing with this. So Khonshu took Strange captive as previously mentioned. Khonshu was trying to make Strange cast a spell to kill all vampires, but that wasn't really working, and Strange had one trick up his sleeve to escape. Steven challenged Khonshu to a game of Senet, which is pretty much just Egyptian chess, as it is described. But unfortunately for Khonshu, legend says that he's actually really bad at Senet, and the reason there are different phases of the moon is because Khonshu lost a game of Senet. So Strange played him, and he ended up winning. He earned his freedom and recovered the Darkhold. In the meantime, Blade had been in Transylvania. When he heard that Dracula was up to something, he immediately went to his castle to stake him out. Blade's been hunting vampires his whole life. Not a lot of people do it, they don't have the skills or guts. When he heard Dracula had a plan, he went to go stop him immediately. But as soon as he got to Transylvania, he realized that Dracula wasn't there. He was already in New York, where he had turned it into his personal stomping grounds. The reason Blade is such a good vampire hunter is because he operates a little bit differently than everybody else. He can hunt during the day because he's half vampire, half human. He is the Daywalker. But with no day, Blade has lost his biggest advantage. That didn't matter, Blade still had a mission to carry out, so he went to give Dracula a warm New York welcome. He met up with Human Torch and Spider-Man, but Dracula was ready. He knocked out Human Torch and Spider-Man and captured Blade, hauling him to his dungeon beneath his castle. Blade admits it was a smart move on his part. When your biggest threat is going after you, you take him out first. But Blade isn't the only captive in Dracula's dungeon. There's also the Asgardian squirrel, Ratosker, who has an enchanted horn that can end the life of whatever it pierces, including an immortal Dracula. With the two biggest threats facing Dracula off the board, it doesn't seem that Dracula is going to be stopped anytime soon. Blade says it's going to be a long night. And finally, what are the rest of the heroes up to, including Psylocke, Iron Man, Wolverine, Winter Soldier, Adam Warlock, and Moon Knight? Well, they've kind of made their own team. They call it the Eternal Knights. Moon Knight talks about how Khonshu hasn't really been present in his head, and while Khonshu has never been really one to answer prayers, Moon Knight hopes that Khonshu's listening now. Moon Knight has been upholding Khonshu's mission to protect all travelers of the night. Moon Knight and Iron Man came to the mutual realization that some of the other heroes that they had aligned themselves with aren't really willing to get their hands dirty like they need to. Moon Knight says they're also hung up on the idea that some of the vamps used to be innocent civilians, and they aren't willing to accept the notion that every war has casualties. And it's like Khonshu always taught Moon Knight, vengeance comes at a steep cost. So does victory. Stark came to Moon Knight's way of thinking pretty quickly, but not everyone followed suit, including the Fantastic Four and Squirrel Girl. They were all too squeaky clean to do what needed to be done. So while they're up in their ivory tower trying to figure out ways to save everyone, Moon Knight and everybody else is on the streets doing the real work, saving as many lives as they can and ending the ones that they can't. Some of the Eternal Knights are proud to be doing what they're doing. Wolverine and the Winter Soldier wear their ichor like a badge of honor. So does a new girl with a giant sword that speaks Japanese, Psylocke. She may be a better hunter than Moon Knight, but others don't want their reputations to be tarnished by the blood they're spilling. So, Tony Stark made new suits for everybody. He incorporated Chronovium into the armor stacks, tapping into its ability to rewind time, and the results are epic new suits with a gothic aesthetic that hits all the right notes and faces. But they aren't the only ones sporting new threads. Recently, they came across a group of vampires near Moon Knight's hideout in Greenwich Village, and that group was being led by a man in fancy white armor. And Moon Knight could have sworn he recognized him from somewhere. Whoever he was, he looked like he was ready to give old Dracula a run for his money when it comes to leadership over the vampire army. And when he does, Moon Knight wants to be there to watch. But in the meantime, Moon Knight's going to be doing what he does best. The dirty work for Khonshu, upholding the mission just like a good fist of Khonshu. So that's everything we have about the Vampiric War and how it started. If you want to keep up to date and see the resolution to this conflict, then you should definitely subscribe for more, because I'm going to try and keep you updated with all the Marvel Rivals lore. And if you like this video, definitely leave a like. Let me know in the comments below your predictions on how they end the Vampiric War. I appreciate you guys watching the end. Definitely subscribe for more. Join my Discord, follow my Twitch, subscribe to my YouTube, do all the things. I appreciate it. Peace out, guys.